All right, it's time. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for coming. My name is Troy LaFaye. I am an independent filmmaker. I've been working in the Twin Cities film community since about 1989. And I've been hanging out at cons since about 2000, yeah. I'm a former guest of honor. I'm the founder and director of the Midwest Sci-Fi Film Festival, which is currently on hiatus because I'm in the process of buying it back from Con. So hopefully you'll be seeing that again soon. A very long time ago, Jennifer and I were trying to remember when exactly. We think maybe 2012. I did a panel of local female filmmakers, and I decided it was time to do it again. I won't elaborate on why. So here we are again. So here's how I'm gonna do this. I've got a handful of questions I'm gonna ask the folks, and then I'll just kind of go down the line and let everyone ask the questions, and then we'll open it up to you guys to see if there's anything you guys would like to ask as well. So without further ado, I'm gonna start down there, and the first question is, please introduce yourself. Start with you, yeah.
All right, well, hello everybody. My name is Jolanta. I'm an independent filmmaker here in the Twin Cities, but I've had the opportunity working in Hollywood and New York and different places for film. I currently actually have a film in the film festival circuit. I did a short miniseries last year. And I've been doing this for about over 10 years now. I really like to work on shorts, but I have done a mix of independent film features here in Twin Cities with other collaborators. I've also run a production company with my really great friend. We just did a film feature about a few months ago, and I enjoy filmmaking. I like short storytelling and the different sides of working on a script and bringing a vision to life on set, which is what I really do. I like to work on post-production and help out behind the scenes as a production manager or producer on films. And writer, screenwriter.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Prettyman, and I've been filmmaking since about 2010. 2010, I wrote, directed, started and produced my first film. And since then, I've been continuing on. Prior to that, I was doing mostly acting. So I've been acting since I was about 13 or so. And I've made films locally, and I also lived out in Los Angeles for a while and did some work out there, and went back a couple years ago and worked in a feature. So I like to go back there occasionally and work on things. But yeah, I would say my first love is acting, but I like to be involved in the whole process, so a little bit of everything.
Hi, I'm Kari, Layland. I started making films probably about 4 or 5 years ago as a director-producer. Before then, I've always been interested in acting. I kind of discovered the local film industry, about 4 or 5 years ago. I liked to create. I created a lot of shorts with my family, and I'm currently working on my first feature film. I've also recently co-founded a film festival that's basically a short film competition where anybody can create a film 8 minutes or less and submit it to the festival, and every film screens in the theater, red carpet event, award show, all the fun things, and it's a blast. So
What's it called?
What's that?
What's it called?
Called North Star Film Festival. I did pass out cards to everybody who was here prior to
You didn't get one. Are there more?
I do have more cards if you would like one. But yeah, I think that's the gist of me. Thank you.
My name is Vanessa McGowan Horrocks Powers. I'm the owner of the Oxford Comma Film Cooperative. I have been making movies since I could hold a Barbie and a camera at the same time. But with seriousness since about 2008. I have degrees in film and theater and have made a mix of shorts, features, and web series. I have worked on one film every 60 days since 2008. And I really love to direct, edit, and art department's pretty cool.
Very cool. All right, so I'm also a instructor, college instructor. I've been teaching for 20 years, and so I do this kind of same Q&A with my students on our first day. And this next question is my absolute favorite question to ask filmmakers. What inspired you to get involved in this crazy business? I'm gonna start with Vanessa.
I feel like this is like the great question with no one magic answer. My house growing up was a movie house. We did like pizza and movies as a family every week. And my mom was an English teacher, and I think that spurred the ways that we thought about film in my house, because it wasn't just, did you like the movie, did you not like the movie? My mom would ask me, like, what did you like about the movie? What did you get from the story? What characters did you like? Or if I didn't like it, like, why didn't I like it? And I think she just made me think about story structure in a way that kids don't always. And I loved telling stories when I was little, and I learned to draw. I was always drawing like books and comics. So I think an attachment to storytelling and the ways that storytelling would like bring my family together. And then I got into theater in high school, and the ways that storytelling brings an audience together. And then had the experience of meeting an independent filmmaker when I was like 14, and realizing that you did not have to be Brad Pitt to be like making movies, that you could just like be a person and make a movie. And that's actually when I started making movies like with great seriousness with my friends, like in high school, with like shooting schedules and shot lists and very real arguments between director and DP. And I think it was just something that got so ingrained in my way of understanding and experiencing and creating community so early in life that it just was not a question that when I got older that I would stay involved in that.
By the time I graduated from high school, I realized I didn't really know how to do anything else. So I was like, I guess this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, it's a little bit like breathing.
Yeah, exactly. Jennifer. Or, I'm sorry, Kari.
Let's skip over Kari.
Kari's not here.
So I've always been interested in performing and creating, and I think I just have like a creative mind and just how I do go about life. But yeah, I started out in like middle school theater and absolutely fell in love with that. Kind of fell off the radar for a while because I didn't think that you could pursue acting and performance really without moving to one of the big production states. So I kind of let that go for a while until I discovered that there was actually a community here locally. And really what got me back into it was my daughter had expressed an interest in acting. So I started researching what was out there and just like trying to find her opportunities to get out there and perform. And then we discovered that there's a film community here and anybody can jump in and take part in it. I ended up, my job, I guess, I have a photography business, and so I do portraits and family stuff and senior portraits, headshots, all that stuff. But so I think my experience with photography and understanding lighting and composition, all of that kind of thing, really just kind of lent itself to jumping into filmmaking. I felt a little more confident in jumping in and making something myself because I already had a camera and I kind of understood how a lot of that worked. So combining the love for performance, it was just like, why not? So we kind of jumped in, we made our own thing, and we learned a lot from it. And then just like every time, just seeing something that you create in the theater for an audience, and we kind of lean into comedy. So hearing an audience laugh is like the biggest reward. But yeah, I mean, so we made our first film, and then we made another one, and then I was just hooked, and I can't stop now.
Jennifer.
Well, they're having a lot of fun.
I know.
All behind us. I'm just like, what is
What's
going
going
on? Like, maybe we can wrap this up a little bit. I want to head over and check that out. No, yeah, okay, so, I mean, ever since I was a little girl, I loved films, and my mom introduced me to all the classics and all the great, you know, stars like Betty Davis and Joan Crawford. She loved all those old films, and so I used to watch those from a little girl on, and I think my first favorite old film was The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And so I would play Dorothy and Glinda and the different roles, and I would play all the characters and dress up, and oh, The Sound of Music was another one. So that was just as a little girl, and I was just like, oh, okay, when I grow up, I want to be in movies. And so, you know, of course, junior high school, did theater plays and took classes and things, and then I knew right when I graduated from high school that I was going to go out to Hollywood. So I graduated actually early and packed up my car and drove out there and did that whole thing for a while. It was very interesting. I have a lot of great stories, great experiences. And then when I moved back here, I just, you know, there was obviously less opportunities. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to make my own films and act in them as well. So that's what I've been doing. You're up.
All right, where do I start? Well, for me, I also run a photography business myself, and I work in high fashion editorial, which is really my space. So understanding lighting, directing, and producing film studio sets, it's really fun. And so for me, I was always surrounded by entertainment growing up from my dad, because my dad worked in props in the Caribbean, because we lived in Trinidad and Tobago at the time, and he worked for a TV station. So my family is really rooted in a lot of the entertainment world. And I actually have a great uncle who did a lot of theatrical and comedy, and my love for comedy, I actually love writing satire. So I love satire films, anything that makes you laugh. I guess when I write from slice of life moments, things that are observational for me, things that I find really funny. I'm actually writing my first film feature right now, and I think being able to stretch the mind just a little bit from what you see. So it's amazing taking a camera and kind of play around with movement, because I was always loving movement. I've always been asked, can I do dance, or can I do music videos, or can I do these types of videos? And so I was always drawn to those types of things in the camera, and it kind of just grew for me from there, from that practice of taking my art. I became a working artist actually full-time a couple of years ago, during my working artist residency, understanding how to be a working artist in this industry, because it's like, kind of like what Jennifer said, you kind of have to make your own stuff, in Minneapolis anyway. So unless you get on different film sets outside of Minneapolis and you're willing to travel a little bit to get the exposure, we have some great hubs around the country, and that's what I love, the collaboration portion on a film set. So getting to do that, seeing the crew come alive, the production side of things, that's where I really thrive.
Let's see, I think we kind of already answered this one. All right, this is sort of the elephant in the room question. What has been your experience, either while working or trying to start working in the industry? I didn't know how else to put this, so I'm just going to say, as a not male. Let anyone start that wants to. As a not male, yes. Anyone want to take a stab at that one?
I think it's better now than it used to be. And that's not to say it's better enough, but it's better than it used to be. When I first started out, I was self-taught until I went to film school in my late 20s. So I read a lot of books. And there was a book I read that said women are so rare on a film set that they should be referred to as gynosapiens. And yeah. And when you audition an actress, you should try to get her to take her clothes off for you. And this was like a like well-reviewed book on how to learn filmmaking, and I remember reading this book and just feeling so unseen by this experience, but also so like angry. And then like when you learned a lot about what you don't want to do. I think that like I've been sent, I don't know if I can say this in this room, content warning, I was sent like dick pics by cinematographers that I was trying to work with. I had a cinematographer on a set with me tell one of my actresses, just stand there and look pretty, darling. I mean, I think that like, when I first started out, and I was also like younger, a little more naive, a little less, I think a little less of like a backbone than I have now, where I just would know, I would have any idea how to handle a situation like that. But when I first started out, it was pretty rough, and it was very overt like that. And I think that as it's gotten better, you still find yourself in rooms with like men that you respect who are like writing a script, and you're listening to them talk about this script, and they're like, and this lead female character, she's so beautiful. And you're like, cool, why? And they're like, well, because she's really gorgeous. And you're like, but what does that have to do with the story? And they're like, well, because she's like really interesting to watch because she's so pretty. And like you have these conversations where like even as no one's sending you dick pics anymore, I think the understanding of misogyny is slow to catch on and slow to really permeate into these like microaggression layers in terms of like how women are described in scripts, what the physical asks of actresses trying out are, what jobs on set are considered like women's jobs and men's jobs, and how those jobs are valued. I mean, I do think there is still an inequality and a disparity, and like, I am a very good director. I am a very good editor, and I have been passed up for jobs for men who are like not as experienced, talented, whatever your favorite word for that is, than I am, and it's something you learn a lot of patience for, and then you lose patience for. So I think for me, it went from this place of really being at the mercy of these experiences to watching the industry change to now my cohort and I have like made our own little ethics guide where like we try to follow that in who we collaborate with, in the projects that we give our time to, in the projects we give our money to. So I think being at the mercy of that, to seeing it change, to trying to become part of the change, and part of elevating other women's voices and getting rid of some of that ugly competition and things like that can happen, and really just celebrating and elevating wherever we can, and really trying to move away from tolerating even those micro behaviors on set. So I think it's a journey that is not over, but that's been my experience.
Is it hopeful?
Yes, and I think one of the things that happens in our direct community, because it's so small, is that men can get away with a lot if they have resources. Like someone with a camera to lend out, or a space, or, well, they're the one getting like paid gigs and they can get people paid on their sets. I think that like people will tolerate more from them because there is a scarcity in our community, and I think that then those people get away with things, or those people that get swept under a rug or not talked about, and I think too, you have an industry dominated by men where if they don't see it, they're not going to do anything about it, or they don't notice. If it's micro, they don't notice it. And so I think that like, while the overall trend is upwards, you don't take for granted that someone isn't going to disappoint you or let you down in that way, and that you get to decide whether you want to, is that relationship worth that challenging conversation? Is that relationship worth standing up in that moment and saying, hey, now we need to talk about that? So I think that it is hopeful. I think that it does trend upwards, but I think that also like culturally right now we're not in a space where there's a lot of equity conversations happening in positive ways, and so, you know, that trickles down in some weird ways, and yeah. I think it's getting better. I don't think it's getting better fast enough, and I think that it's always 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, so that's not an upbeat answer. Sorry.
I just wanted to chime in on Vanessa's point, because I do see it quite a lot, especially on my sets, where there's a ratio of more men than there is of women on a film set. And the last set I was on, we really try to get more female filmmakers involved, because what's scary for me too, especially it's not, so I work a lot on BIPOC sets, and what I see is that, just like what Vanessa is saying, we're really underserved and we're not seen enough in the community, unfortunately. And there's not a lot of opportunities there unless you're creating the opportunities for yourself and you're getting the gigs, because I think we're in such a commercialized space run by men right now. But you can stand out, the way that I see it, you can either try to partner with each other and try to make something before it gets to, I hate to say dramatic on a set, but if you are clear in your expectations on set, drawing the sand, you know, where the line is, the boundaries, where are your boundaries? Because we're not taught boundaries on film sets or even as a creative, so having to learn where your boundaries are up front and what is the ownership, right? Because there's a lot of talk right now in the industry about ownership of projects, and so my co-partner and I, we make sure that, yeah, we need to have more female bodies on our film sets just going forward and who we work with, so
Yeah.
that's very important.
Anything else you guys want to add?
Sure. I think I started a little later, so I didn't have to experience some of the things that maybe Vanessa or some of you who've been doing this a little longer have. But I mean, I noticed some subtle things. Mainly, it's, you know, maybe it takes a little bit more for somebody to respect what you're saying, or, you know, like let's say you express an opinion and then somebody else, a guy will say the same thing in different words, and then they get like a yay, you know, and you're like, wait a minute, I just said that. So just little things like that can sometimes notice, but I have noticed that there are a lot of casting calls where there's a male lead, and then there's like one female character who's like a supporting role, and you know, you're like, okay, well, you know, it'd be nice to see a little more of the ladies getting some of the leading roles and stuff. And I think a lot just having, you know, female filmmakers telling stories about women help that. I mean, cause, you know, naturally, if, you know, you're gonna tell stories that you relate to. So, I mean, it makes sense if there's, you know, a guy who's producing a film, then, you know, those are his experiences. So naturally, you're gonna go in that direction. But so I think just having more women involved in creating stories and writing their own will help that grow and yeah, give more women opportunities.
Yeah. Anything to add, Jennifer?
I guess I haven't had too many issues with the film community here. I'm certainly not afraid to speak out, or if somebody was inappropriate or was talking over me or whatever. I mean, I think people who know me know I'm not going to put up with any shit. So maybe that's another reason why I just haven't dealt with it too much here. And I've been surrounded by really great men and women. Hollywood is a whole nother story, and that could be like a whole panel just in itself. The whole casting couch thing and some of the things that I experienced there and whatever. And so maybe that's why also here, like I'm not, it's not as much of a deal just because of things that I saw and dealt with out there. But I think it's definitely gotten better for women in film, for sure. There's not the roles, there's not, there aren't as many roles as men. Women still don't get paid as much as men. As far as crew positions, I mean, it's still led by men. But I think it's getting better, and so I am hopeful that it will continue to do so.
Some things I've noticed just anecdotally, and I'd be curious if you've noticed this as well, but that guy's really creepy. Sorry, I just looked up and I was like, oh my God, what's going on? Sorry. Of course, you had the script girl, right? That was like the female position for most of the industry that I can think of. Then I seem to notice that you saw a lot of women moving into producing and production managing, a lot of the logistical side of things. Then I've noticed the actual creators, the storytellers, the filmmakers themselves, the directors, the writers. And now, although this is still, I think, the biggest wall yet to break, is the technical side of things. I can count on my one hand, maybe 3 female DPs, cinematographers.
Kari's one of them.
Maybe 4, which I think is great, but wow, it's really hard. And I don't know a single female audio person. Really? It's 1. You have 1, yeah. So to me, that is still frustrating, but the fact that you're starting to see people in those positions, I think is a good sign eventually. We're starting to break down those walls. I also think there's something, and this relates to BIPOC stuff, it relates to gender stuff, but it also just bad actors in general. I don't mean bad actors as in actors that are bad at their job. People that behave like non-humans. In a smaller community, those people tend to be found out faster because we communicate with each other. To a certain extent, it depends on how cliquey they are, I guess, and whether or not the cliques talk with each other. I know just from my side of things, the filmmakers I communicate with are pretty close with each other, and we compare notes a lot when it comes to, hey, this person, should I work with them or not, that kind of thing. But I don't see that same kind of thing happening with the kind of stuff that you guys are talking about, which frustrates me.
Well, I think it's because I would suppose that your clique is a lot of men.
Yeah, exactly.
And so those things are maybe invisible to
Somewhat
them,
invisible,
or they haven't experienced it. And I think it's, I think that's what happens. They don't experience it or they don't see it, and then they're the ones in the room talking, and there's not anyone in the room who would be affected by that, so it doesn't get talked about.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think, that's part of the problem too, though, is I do think smaller communities are cliquey and everyone has their people that they hire and that they work with. And I think too, when you talk about these little barriers we're breaking down, I've said it 100 times, like then those men, you might need to go out of your way to hire women. You might need to go out of your way to hire BIPOC folks, not just the people that you work with all the time. You might have to say, yeah, that DP, I want to see what she can do. And you might have to go out of your comfort zone to do that. And I think also though, when you're doing this independently and the resources are a scarcity, then you're not going to take that risk. I think it's a little bit of a chicken and the egg thing in that way. So, yeah.
I agree with you, Vanessa, on that, because there are different limiting barriers out there, especially like, let's say, for example, grants. There are some barriers. There's not enough grants out there for women filmmakers. There's some, but there's not enough. They're coming up right now, where you can be eligible, but even doing the dance with the grants, it's just like, well, am I good enough? Then you go down the whole imposter syndrome thing, like, okay, well, am I meant for, what am I really meant for in a film set? And Troy, you're talking about training, on-set training with other roles. Like the last set I was just on, we had some female PAs as well. They wanted to learn other areas like assistant directing, or they wanted to do design, wardrobe, those things. So what we do on set on the day of, if they really wanted to take something, we would just let them, hey, come and learn. Because a lot of it is self-taught. And I learned by being a PA, and I climbed up the ranks from PA. Sound, I I've done a lot of different roles, so, you know, and as you're talking about different lists, because, yeah, people do have lists out there, and it's really amazing to me, like, really a list, and, all right, well, you know, I know I'm not for everybody, and that's something I've had to accept along the way, so.
One thing I've noticed just working in academia for 20 years, that there's a drastic change in the enrollment, males versus females. When I first started, there was a handful of females. I think we had one female in our program of about less than 50 people. But now it's close to half and half, and some years there are more females than males. So that,
Well,
to
it's
me,
a broader
is a good
conversation,
sign.
isn't it, now that more women are going to school than men?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
In general, yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless of what field, yeah.
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 So I think that, yeah, I mean, there's those shifts happening, for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. What do we have here? What kind of we got here? I want to make sure people get a chance to talk about it. What are you guys working on now? Who wants to start?
Sure, I'll go.
Go for it.
Let's see, so right now, I have multiple projects actually. I've been helping out on several shorts for other people as DP. I'm acting in the process of acting in a feature film that friends are creating. Troy and I were just in New Mexico filming that, which was lots of fun. Let's see, I wrote my first feature film script, and we have a table read coming up this coming Friday to hear it out loud and see what people think, and so that's, you know, a little nerve-wracking, but also very exciting. So that's, we're creating a Western film next.
Can anyone attend the?
It's a private table.
Private table.
Yeah. So invite only on that, but I hope everybody will attend when we get around to screening the finished film. Let's see, what else? Well, we're planning for next season for the North Star Film Festival as well. We just got gorgeous trophies just showed up at my door a few days ago, and yeah, they're beautiful, and I'm very excited, and I posted a picture in our group of planners, and I'm like, yeah, I think I'm more excited about these trophies than the people who are going to take them home. But yeah, I'm sure there's more, but I think that's, covers most of what I've been up to lately.
Cool.
Okay, I'll go.
That was for me.
The applause. I know, they're just having a ball over there. A feature film that I worked on just had its theatrical release. It's called The Blind Bargain, and quirky film, very, very fun. It takes place in 1970, directed by Paul Bonnell. Crispin Glover is the star of that one. We just had, we have some Crispin Glover fans.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, okay, I could do a little panel on him. He's an interesting person. Anyways, they just had its theatrical release in New York, so I went out there for that. That was really, really fun. And it actually screened here at a couple different theaters. I have a couple other films that are in the festival circuit right now. And one of them will be playing at the Women's Film Festival that some of you got flyers for. It's called Black Heart Unbroken. And I will be working on a third film in a trilogy that was based on poems. I'll be shooting that this summer, and I have something else that I'm writing and that I hope to shoot soon. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, what do I got going on? Well, I'm pretty fortunate to be working in both fashion and film. So I will be doing a fashion show in August. It's going to be a really fun show here in Minneapolis. And then I am working on my first film feature this year. It's a satire, dark comedy. comedy. I really love dark comedies, and I just like the slice of life moments, as I mentioned earlier. This was my first time really diving into a film feature and kind of messing with the characters and having fun and getting along with why am I making this film feature. I think it was just my time to. And then I will be doing a 6-month cohort. And I'm hoping to get Film North involved. So they are a great partner. Film North is a really great resource to have here in the cities. They're really like a great place where you can go and learn and soak up all the information. Also Springboard for the Arts, I'm very much involved there. I was fortunate to take a free workshop a couple of years ago through them. I learned about a bunch of stuff through the Springboard for the Arts. So I'm always trying to add things to my toolkit, and then I'm not sure what else for the rest of the year. After a film feature, we will see how I feel after the end of the year. So I got Taylor Reed coming up, I believe, in August sometime. So we're kind of really chomping at the bit.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm in pre-production for a queer short called Constellations that we're shooting between here and Chicago this summer, in pre-production for a music video, and in very early stage pre-production on a feature called Breadcrumbs. And then I have on the festival circuit my 7th feature film, Silly Little Wounds, which is a coming of middle age story that's also in distribution talks, so hopefully that one will be more broadly available soon. And then we have a short, Salt Circles, that's also on the festival circuit right now, that's about reproductive rights. That's won a lot of awards and gone a lot of places, and that's been very cool. And then I have 3 shorts that we finished this spring that need to go onto the film festival circuit. So definitely a lot going on.
I forgot to add my short film, #Wars, is out right now on the film festival circuit. It just screened in Hollywood, Marina Del Rey Film Festival, so I am hoping to go to Chicago really soon. I'm waiting to hear back from a film festival down there. So it's #Wars, it's a short satire, and it's a mini-series, so I'm turning it into a reality show, so you might get to see it on TV sometime soon.
Very cool. Let's see. So you can answer this next question in a couple of ways. Either, what is the best advice that you received about getting started in this business, or what advice do you have for an aspiring filmmaker?
I'll start.
Go for it.
Find a mentor. I think I had a really great mentor until he passed away. I've had several mentors. I believe in mentorship quite a lot. If you can find someone that can offer you assistance, or even just, I work with a lot of students. Troy knows this. I work with a lot of film students. And if I could go to film school and had the resources to go to film school, I feel like film school is the best way where you can get your connections started, because that's where you get your collaborations from. Your teacher might know who you could, refer you to for work and all of these things. So we have a really great film school program here in the Twin Cities. MCAT is one of them. I've been fortunate enough to meet wonderful editors. I've got an editor right here in the room that works with me constantly. So thank you for always working with me on all of my projects. The film schools here are really great. For any aspiring, just start. Really, just hit record, just try. Whatever equipment, don't get tripped out by equipment, please. You have an iPhone, you can use your iPhone and create stories. You don't need $40,000 worth of equipment to just to shoot something, film something. So just start. If you have a story, write it out. You don't need fancy software or whatever. A lot of people think that. That's the beauty of independent filmmaking, is that you can start with what you have. And if you have something that's available to you, go from there. Maybe you might find a studio. There's tons of studios around. Don't discount the small studios that are here in Twin Cities. Because we've got tons that, was it Cinequip that's in Minneapolis, right? So Cinequip, you've got all the resources to check out gear. You might have to spend a little bit, but it's worth it. That's all I got.
My advice would be just do what you love and do it. If, like, for me personally, if I'm not doing something creative, if I'm not filmmaking, if I'm not writing or acting, I'm just not a very happy human being. And especially just like with all of the unrest in the world right now and everything that's going on, I think it's really easy to get down about things. But doing something creative and storytelling kind of brings me out of that and just makes me happy. It's like you can live in your own little world. But I think sometimes people get down. I mean, I've been down on myself sometimes, like, oh, why, I've been doing this for so many years. Like, why am I not up here? Why have I not, furthered my career? It's really easy to do that. But then I have to remember that when I'm on a set, when I'm making something, I'm happy and I'm doing what I love. And so just do that, whatever it is, whether it's filmmaking or just whatever it is you do for your job or your hobbies or anything in life, just do what fulfills you.
Yeah. I think my advice would be to show up to local screenings. If you look up, Woodbury 10 Theater does a lot of those. There's actually one that is coming up here. Vanessa's got flyers for that. That's a specifically a screening for films produced by women. But there are several of these events throughout the year. If you look for them, if you go to those, not only will you can use that as inspiration to create something of your own, but you're supporting others who are participating in this. And it's also a great networking opportunity. So you usually, when you go to an event like that, the filmmakers are present and they do a Q&A, and it's a great way to learn about the process and then meet people. I mean, filmmaking is one of those things that's really difficult to do by yourself. And so building a community of people that you connect with that can work together to create something is a really big step. If you can grow even just a small team of people who are like-minded and want to create something together, that's going to help you huge in getting started. So yeah, showing up to those things, you're going to meet those people who are also interested. Yeah.
The best advice I ever got, because I think they've given pieces of advice that I would. I was a very messy 20-something. I was always late. I always had an excuse. I always had a reason why something wasn't done or I couldn't do what I had said that I was going to do. And someone I really, really respected sat me down and sort of said, if this is kind of how you want to show up, that's fine. It's not going to be with me. And this was a person that I really greatly respected, and I was just like mortified. But they kind of said, like, when I commit to something, when I say I'm gonna do something, like, I'm gonna do it, and I'm not gonna have an excuse, and I'm not gonna be late, and I'm gonna, really give what I say that I will give. And if you can't do that, like, we can't work together. And it was one of the most hard conversations I've ever had, but it really reshaped the way that I commit to things, because I think everyone doing this is giving their time, is giving their money, is giving their talent. There's a real language of respect that comes from committing and then doing what you say you're going to do and showing up when you say you're going to show up. And that sounds so tiny, but like Kari said, you don't make a film alone. You depend on other people to do it, and when you have that one person who's always late or always has some excuse about why they can't do the thing that they said they would, you will stop working with them. And you don't want to be the person who's so talented with so much to give who loses out because you're unreliable. And so for me, being reliable and really showing up 100%, or being honest and saying I can't, right? Not saying you're going to do it and then not do it. So that was a really big turning point in the ways that I show up to things, and it made me more reliable, and then I got traction, I got community, and I got opportunities from, doing what I say that I would do.
If I could come jump on that, one of the biggest things I try to instill in my students is our industry, with some exceptions if you're in the corporate part of the business, but particularly on the narrative side of things, the entertainment side of things, our industry is almost 100% people motivated. We decide who we're going to work with based on people that we know their personalities. Our jobs are often very tedious, and that gets extended over many, many hours potentially in a day, like 12 to 16 hours a day or more. I always put it this way: you want to be someone who someone else is willing to hang out with for 16 hours in not great conditions. It's too hot, it's too cold, it's too wet, it's too dry. Do you want to be the person that is stuck next to someone that you don't want to be with for that amount of time, let alone multiple days in a row? Think about it from that perspective. It is your work ethic and just your ability to get along with other human beings is so huge. It is more than your technical or creative knowledge means everything. And like I mentioned before, filmmakers all talk with each other. We mostly know each other, or we try to know each other, and we, again, share notes. Like, on top of that, because you spend that much time with each other for so long, you become like a family, and you get really, really protective of that family, and you don't necessarily want to let other people in, number one, because you don't know them. Number two, you want to keep working with those people because they're a known quantity, and there's an enjoyment in being with your family all the time. It's fun. And occasionally, one of your family members is already booked on something, or they're sick, or they're traveling or something, and now there's an opportunity for someone new to get involved. And so that's when we start comparing notes with each other, like, hey, I need someone that does this, who have you worked with that's new? And your reputation is everything when it comes to that. So really, really important. I want to make sure that we've got a few minutes left. So do you guys have any questions for the folks up there? Oh, lunch. I'm going to start. I think you were first.
How do I watch an independent film? Do I have to go in person to film festivals? Is there a way to watch it at home?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the struggle there is who you know. I have a website where you can watch all my short films, and I do have films available on Amazon and Tubi. And Tubi is great. That's if you just want to sit down one night and like watch an independent film. Tubi is great. They have a lot of Hollywood stuff, but they pick up independent stuff, and they pay their independent stuff pretty well for what it is. So like, I think if it's random, if you just want to close your eyes, and also if you go on YouTube and type in award-winning short film, like you will have a bunch of things come up. I know Amazon releases some collections of short films. I think it is something that unfortunately you do have to seek out, but it does exist. So yeah, I think knowing kind of your search terms and knowing kind of where to look, but yes, there are ways to watch them outside of film. I mean, film festivals are cool, film festivals are great. I understand that sometimes that's prohibitive. So yes, there are places to watch things for sure. And then yeah, going to like Googling independent filmmaker Minnesota, and people's sites will come up, and really often they'll have works on their sites that you can watch, links to them. So, and then, like Kari said, going to screening events where you can that aren't necessarily a full-fledged film festival, but keeping an eye out for those screening opportunities.
Yeah, and I think more and more film festivals are starting to have an online option.
Yeah.
Since COVID, yeah.
Yeah, especially,
Some new, some don't. Like the one I was just at, I wish they had an online option, and I'd ask about it, and I know if you had me
Yeah.
in person, unfortunately.
The theater owners are
Yeah.
not super happy about that. Orange person there.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. So, being independent filmmakers and trying to get your stuff out there to the world, what has been the best platform for making your stuff known? Do you do a lot of social media? Is it just film festivals? Like, how do you get your film out there for people that maybe don't know about these film festivals? Like, how do you market yourself? Do you use like those indigo campaigns like Kickstarter to raise funds and awareness for this as well? Like, what's the best way?
I'll answer that. Thank you for that question. Part of it is branding your film too. You mentioned about social media, so recently there's been, I would definitely bet on YouTube, having a YouTube channel. My best friend keeps saying, get on YouTube, get on YouTube. So I have my films up on YouTube or Vimeo, which is the other platform, I believe, for films that you have to pay. There's some that are subscription-based only, which is all right. At some point I'll make my own subscription-based platform, but we'll see. So part of that, I believe in branding your films, having social media helps, but you as a filmmaker have to promote yourself. Go to networking events, collaborate with other people, maybe have someone that can really talk up your film. I've been in different rooms, fortunately, where people can help promote my stuff, so I'm not feeling like I'm drowning in my own work on social media, because social media only goes so far with the algorithms, which I really don't like the algorithms. So there's different ways that you can promote your film out there or promote yourself, because people want to see you, whether you're an actor, you're a producer, you're a director. LinkedIn is also another great way. A lot of people forget about LinkedIn. It's a great networking platform where you can find a great promoter to help you. There are multiple ways. As far as Indigo, you asked about crowdsourcing.
Yeah.
Crowdsourcing is really time consuming when you're trying to raise funds, but it helps your film set. So Indigo is a great platform. There's Kickstarter, there's Patreon, there's different ways that you can raise funds. GoFundMe is another big one a lot of people use. So
Seed and Spark.
Seed and I got mixed feelings about Seed and Spark, but yeah, it's another good platform too. So yeah, there's multiple ways you can raise funds for your film.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see, go you and then to you.
So you mentioned before about a code of conduct for all the people that you work with on your set. What sort of items are on that code of conduct, and just in general, what sorts of qualities do you all look for in people that you work with?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think reliability, respect, not letting, I think, negativity come into, I think that there's a lot of competition that can happen in small markets. People who let their competitiveness with others turn into bullying behavior. I think anyone who's been creepy or inappropriate towards somebody in our direct circle, I think, talent and creativity, like Troy said, you would think that those are almost first, but there's so much talent and so much creativity that those don't always have to come first. Obviously you want to work with people who are really high quality in that sense, but usually the people who are part of those conversations are. So I think for me it has way more to do with those soft skills, communication, clear, direct communication, work ethic, things you wouldn't think about, do they drive? Can they drive themselves to set? Not because there's anything wrong with not driving, but then that's another logistical piece to add. Are they capable of self-care? I've worked with some really great people who go 12 hours and don't drink water, and if you bring them a water bottle, they yell at you. And that's okay, cool, well that was not worth us trying to care for you, and then you got sick and it made it a terrible experience for everybody. I think some of these basics of being a human, and that's not even to say that they're not someone who gets overwhelmed or has a bad day. Anyone that can happen to, but do they self-manage? Do they take breaks? Do they tell you what they need when that's happening? Because I think the other thing like Troy said is you're not always in great conditions on a film set with each other. And people who are capable of communicating, self-reflecting, caring for themselves, caring for others, you know, people who meld together well, people who are good at being on a team. I think that those soft skills, those kinds of things matter so much more than sometimes, are they the best cinematographer I know? Are they the best at this that I know? I mean, you have to be really talented by being an asshole. And so I think with how talented a lot of people in this community are, those other things matter more.
Okay, so I have a question. So I'm a filmmaker, I've been doing this for like ever. I took a hiatus because life decided to life for a little bit. So it's kind of frustrating, like trying to get back in, especially in this scene, because everyone is, I feel like, not moved on, but like, I guess it's like this. How do you advise for someone who's like trying to get back in, has connections, but doesn't know where to go? Does that make sense?
I mean, I think North Star is great for that. It's, if you knew Z-Fest, it sort of took the place of that. But I think that in the Minnesota community specifically, Z-Fest and now North Star serves almost as like our version of film school. It's like a check-in with everyone once a year of like, what's everybody doing? What stories is everyone telling? What quality of work are people doing right now? Because your work is guaranteed to screen and people are guaranteed to see it screen, I think it's just a really great calling card opportunity to say like, hey, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm doing. And I know people love the competition and the trophies, but it's also a community building event. And I think if not North Star, then any of these other screening events that Kari's talking about, like creating something to screen in one of those to say, hey, remember me, hey, I'm back, hey, this is the work that I'm doing right now. Because I think that's the way you get someone interested, excited about, hey, that's the work you're doing right now, I want to be doing that work too. Hey, you made that thing, I really like that thing, let's work together sometime. I think network, like what you lose when you step back, when life's as it does, is network. And I think to step back into network, you kind of have to do like a calling card piece, like a piece that says, hey, this is where I'm at, this is the work I want to be doing.
To add on to that, Vanessa, with social media, it's awesome because you can make your own content and you can reach people here in the cities. I'm on Threads and I love Threads.
I love Threads.
That's where I live. I thrive in Threads and there's all sorts of different connections you can make. Fortunately for me, I did a lot of the film festival programming here, like the Twin Cities Film Festival when I started out. So I did a lot of their red carpet photography for them back in the day, and then Catalyst when they came here too. So Catalyst is no longer here, but they were in Duluth. They're the Duluth Film Festival. So there's some of the film festivals you can get involved in. It's just really a matter of all who you know, really. I took a break from filming during the pandemic, so the pandemic was a really crazy time to really like try things. So very fortunate for the pandemic that made it slow down so you can still have those connections. I would just say, just try, maybe make a video out there with social media and see who sees your stuff. You never know who's out there.
I've got a card for you if you would like information about the North Star Festival.
I love that thing.
I encourage you to
And
at least come. Yeah.
I have a flyer for a screening that could be a networking event.
Connections, yay.
It's all about connections.
You're in the right space.
Yeah. I would just add to that, this is going to date me a little bit, but there are some really great local filmmaker Facebook groups, just to get your name out there, just introduce yourself, say, hey, I'm available, working on stuff, sadly for free, is a good way to just get your foot back in the door, and because it's all about meeting the people that are on set, and starting that relationship thing, and establishing your work ethic. So that stuff is just invaluable. And then doing stuff like this, or going to film festivals and just hanging out at the events and meeting people. So I'm naturally very introverted, except when I'm in front of an audience, which is really weird. So that was the hardest thing for me to learn how to do, and I'm still learning after however many years. I think we're out of time. So first of all, I want to thank these amazing filmmakers for and thank all of you guys.
I have one thing to say. If you liked anything I had to say and are curious about my work, my website is oxford-films.com, spelled out, Oxford, C-O-M-M-A, films.com. And I have links to shorts, I have links to features, I have links to web series, and I would love for y'all to check it out, so.
She does lovely work. You'll be with it.
And then if you didn't get a flyer for the screening.
Yes, please grab
a flyer for the
flyers.
screening.
And all of that. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, thanks, this is a great audience, like, thanks for coming.
And I appreciate you all. You can find me at jolantayoung.tv on Instagram and anywhere on the social web.
If anybody hasn't gotten a card, my contact information is on here as well as information about North Star. I also have Tough Love Productions on YouTube is where you can find some of my previous work.
Yeah, and if you just want to go onto YouTube and look up Jennifer Prettyman, I have a channel and I have a lot of my short films and one feature on there if you'd like to check those. I also have DVDs that I sell at conventions. So, yeah, look us up.
I'm going to plug the film that is currently in production, but I'm super excited about it. Kari and I both have been working on it. It's called Vex Torn, Vex with 2 X's. It's a like fantasy, comedy, sci-fi, post-apocalyptic thing. It's going to be super cool. So please check it out.
Definitely movie to watch.
You can find my production, Whispers and Wonders Productions, on YouTube. It is a common name, so I don't have, my shorts are on there, my trailers are up right now, so. Thank you so much.
Thank you.